Hey, I'm here today to introduce you to the entire Everyday Joy system. And some of you, most of you have already been connected with various elements of this system. And I'm just so excited today to show you the entire map of it. I'm going to share my screen here. You can see it's a beautiful spiral and it moves upwards to our creative joy wings, right? And I'm going to tell you the different elements to this as we move along here. So you are already here. Okay. You are already in this spiral. You've come into the lower elements of it, and no matter what, if you're here watching this video, you are done with that part. With you have awakened your creative core, you're already in the flow, you're already catching and building some of these creative sparks. That's part of being here with me today. So I just want to make a little note about activation of this creative joy is can be a little ironic, right? You may be at a tender place right now because grief is often the catalyst for building creative joy. The two are very much related. When we love somebody, we at some point will likely be grieving that when we love something or somebody, I shouldn't have just said somebody, at some point we will likely be grieving losing it as well. And so love, grief, and joy are all very closely tied together. So just naming that right now at this, it's possibly a very tender place to be at the beginning of intentional building of joy. And so once we have awakened our creative core, and like I said, we're all here. It's action. It's action that it takes to continue to build it, right? Creative joy in action. We do that through retuning, rejuvenating, and rejoicing. And you may have encountered these elements in various programs that you've done with me and the events of the Creativity Playbook. That's really the action phase of everyday joy. So we're going to move into the details of each of those briefly. First action, retuning our creative channels. Okay, we build our purpose through soul vibration. And that can mean vibration of imagination and thoughts. It can mean vibration in the physical world, like our physical voices and our bodies. It can mean a lot of different things, the vibration. But basically, when we retune our creative channels, we're getting ourselves aligned with creative energy and build that is what we use to build joy into our everyday lives. So next along the line, after retuning our creative channels, that's how we start our creativity playbook, we rejuvenate with everyday play. Everyday play, the most accessible, fastest, renewable energy source for our joy is play to help us gain energy and vitality. And we rejuvenate through that part of the system. Literally, rejuvenation means to get younger. So that's a big part of the action parts, the action elements of the creativity playbook and the whole everyday joy system. So after we are rejuvenating with everyday play, we are rejoicing with our creative champions. Okay. That can be, we become creative champions for ourselves and we gather, whoops, we're going back a little bit here. We gather them from our community as well. And that's anybody or anything that unconditionally supports you as a creative being. So celebrating and rejoicing like that begins the story. Okay. It begins, that's, once we're engaged in all these actions, retuning, rejuvenating, and especially rejoicing, doing that celebration, that's kind of like saying, well, once upon a time, I have done the thing. I am reciting my dreams. I am showing myself and other people and the world that I am on this path of choosing joy. And then we can tap into our whole voice, which continues on with the story. Our whole voice, what it says is, I choose joy. I honor my status as a creative being by taking action that creates joy in my life. And we become more whole through this expression. From that place, we express ourselves into the world more authentically and more like who we really are. So, whole voice is this: whatever lights up your creative soul and how you express that. Okay, so look at this list on the right here and see if any of those things jump out at you. The first part of the list is kind of like the classic, what we think of as creativity. And that, totally that brings us creative joy. And towards the bottom there, you see some caregiving, activism, community service, entrepreneurship that we don't always think of as creative, and yet they totally are. Really, anything we do in our life that lights us up brings us creative joy. Anything we do in our life is creative. So there we are. And the joy wings. Okay, that's what we rise to. We rise into our joy wings to start to grow them and then to expand them. Telling that story through our whole voice, right, expands our creative power. And every creative sparkle that we do with those three R's, the retuning, rejuvenating, and rejoicing, every single sparkle that we create expands our ability to choose joy. It raises our baseline of experiencing life through our joyful power first. So then you see this energy trail here, right, that comes off of those wings. And we use that power for building more joy, more momentum for the actions, the retuning, the rejuvenating, the rejoices, and the rejoicing. And if we don't tap into that power, though, if we don't tap into this area over here, those sparkles are going to find somewhere else to land. So to tap into the power, we need to go back into the action phase and reclaim those creative sparkles back into ourselves and back into doing the actions of retuning, rejuvenating, and rejoicing that once upon a time I did this thing, and then I'm telling the story of my true, sparkly, abundant, and passionate self through my whole voice. And then the joy rings expand even further, right? Once upon a time, I started this, I tell the story. And what the stories got wrong, though, is the concept of the end. With this spiral, there is no end. It continues forever through creative action when we choose it intentionally. So that's the whole system. And thank you so much for being here with me in this work, in this play, because it's all the same thing, in this joy. Thank you so much for sharing your creative path with me and tuning into all of this joy together.